Hey guys, it's Alexia. Today, Chris and I are going to go through some leg movements you can find at your everyday gym. Basically techniques to do them safely, accurately, and just tips that you can use in everyday training.
But nothing too advanced.
Nothing too advanced. No power movements.
So now we're going to demonstrate a squat. We're going to start with a foot stance and work our way up. So we're going to start from a front view, and then we'll demonstrate from a side view with no weight, just your body weight. This is how you should practice a squat first without using weight if you're new to squatting. So typically there's different foot stances people can use, but generally a good foot stance to start with is your feet either shoulder width or slightly wider than shoulder width with your toes pointed slightly out, okay? Some people do excessively out, too much, that would be more like a sumo squat, which we're not gonna go into, or they do very narrow with their feet facing close, which is more of an advanced squat movement. So if you're new to squats, I would potentially not try this one first. Different squats obviously emphasize different parts of your body. You're using mostly all the same prime movers, of course, but the focus and the tension is slightly different. Sumo, you're loading your hips more of the glutes. When your feet are closer together and you're doing a squat, you're emphasizing more of your quads. Of course, your glutes are involved. But we're going to start with feet slightly wider than shoulder width, toes pointed slightly out. She's going to demonstrate a squat from a front view. Well, things to keep a note: when you squat, your knees aren't internally rotating. When you come down, like they cave in or they cave way out on the way down. You want your knees to fall right over your toes in the same direction. Your knees don't necessarily pass your toes. I mean, they can come forward, as she's going to demonstrate now. See, the knees aren't really exceeding her toes. Sometimes it's funny is when you demonstrate a squat without weight, your form sometimes is slightly off. When she comes down, go down again. Yeah. Keep that chest nice and high. Perfect. Sometimes now when people do make a mistake is they do a squat, they put too much emphasis on their heel, and when they rock back, their toes come off the ground. Sometimes you can lose your balance. Or a lot of times when people have tight calves, when they come forward, their heels lift off the ground. Most of their weight tilts towards their toe. So when they squat, she's so used to doing it right, she can't do it wrong. Well, generally what happens is as the individual descends downward into the squat position, right, her heels will come up and emphasis will be too much on the ball of their foot. You want to try to emphasize most of the pressure on heel and the ball of your foot. Some people say only your heel. I like to be even distribution of your heel to the ball of your foot. That demonstrates good flexibility in your hips and your calves. We're going to go demonstrate some squats with actual body weight, sometimes with weight. The squat technique increases for whatever reason when we do back squats, but that's a general thing. One thing too, if you're getting used to squats too, and you're building confidence, you can use them with a stability ball against the wall. If you're very new to squats and you feel very uncomfortable, this is a good way to kind of get in the mode of that technique of a squat. Obviously, this is a very, very, very beginner exercise for people who are generally sedentary and do not have good flexibility, but it's a good starting point. And then practice doing body weight squats with the correct form before you start loading weight in your back. So now we're going to demonstrate where you put the bar placement on your neck. General people's mistakes, especially women, they put the bar too high up on their cervical spine. You want to kind of bring the bar down a little bit so it kind of rests on the softer tissue there, the muscle. Perfect squat. As she comes down, she brings the hip back, chest is up, head is straight. Knees are not passing the toes. Heels are on the ground. Good squat technique. All right, so this leg press is found in every gym. Different brands make different leg presses. They may look the same, but they might have a different feel. So if you're generally not a leg press fan and you see a different type of brand of leg press, give it a shot. Particularly Precor and Icarian are not my favorites. Some of the older school hack squats have a better feel, better angle. But there's usually one adjustment on the leg press, and that's the back adjustment. Putting it all the way down gives you fuller range of motion, meaning the sled is allowed to travel a further way down. Your knees come closer to you. When you go all the way up, you have a less range of motion. So you see a lot of guys try to jack up the weight in the leg press, put that all the way up and move it like 5 inches. Generally not what you want to do. So you see the range of motion there. Now we'll demonstrate it all the way down. Now she has a fuller range of motion. More difficult this way. So now we're going to talk about leg press, where you put your feet. The platform's huge, so what do we do? Generally, if you put your feet lower, you're putting more emphasis on your quads, less on your glutes and hamstrings. I said less. It's not doesn't like to take the pressure off. You're still working your glutes and your hamstrings. You put your feet wider, and you're putting more emphasis on your abductors. You put your feet narrower, it's back to quads, less abductors. You put your feet higher up, you're putting more emphasis on your glutes and your hamstrings. You're still emphasizing, you're still working your quads, but not as direct as if your feet were lower on the platform. Generally, what anybody should do for beginners is really put your feet a little bit wider than your own shoulder width, toes point slightly out. Now she's going to demonstrate right in the feet right in the middle of the platform. So you're kind of in the middle of both grounds. You're going to slowly come down, decelerate the weight. That's one thing that everybody doesn't do, is decelerate the weight. They let the weight drop down, and then they try to accelerate the weight hard. Potentially puts a lot of pressure in your lumbar spine. You do not want to do that. Note that her knees are directly in line with her toes. Her knees aren't externally rotating, or when they come down, not internally rotating. Perfect. So this is a hack squat. Hack squats obviously come in different brands and variations like the leg press, but this is your standard plate-loaded hack squat. She's going to demonstrate a proper technique. Foot placement, let's keep it simple. We'll keep it the same way as we do a squat, slightly wider than shoulder width, toes point slightly out. She slowly decelerates down. I can't stress that enough. Decelerate the weight, have control of it. Come up. Notice her back of her legs are parallel. Her back of her legs were parallel to the platform. Now bring her feet too high, as you can see, her lower leg is not perpendicular to the platform. So she needs to walk her feet back to where they were, a good stance. That's where you want your feet. So when you go down, her lower leg's perpendicular to the pad. Now she's going to walk back, and this sometimes puts too much emphasis on your knees. Now your knees are going slightly forward, and that could be a little too traumatic for some people's knees. Keep right in the middle. Lower legs perpendicular to the platform. Perfect. So we're going to demonstrate lunge. Alexia just said that our videos are super boring. That's why we have to be more animated. So we're going to demonstrate a lunge. There's 2 ways to do a lunge. You can do barbell, you can do dumbbell. We're going to show a barbell today. That way it doesn't obstruct the view of the lower body. We do walking lunges. That's what I prefer, where you do left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg until you complete maybe anywhere from 15 to 30 steps. Okay? So she's going to demonstrate a lunge. She steps forward, 90-degree angle of her leg, 90-degree angle. She comes back. Her body's up. Now we're going to demonstrate some incorrect ways. So some incorrect ways when people step is they lean their body too far forward. When they lean forward and their body comes all the way forward and they go stand up, you don't want to do that. And then people who do the lunges and they allow their heel to lift off the ground, they step too short and their heel comes off. You don't want to do that. And then when people knock their knee in the ground, when they drop down into a lunge and they knock the back knee into the ground, don't want to do that either. Make sure the lunges is very, control. Decelerate your body weight, squeeze. Decelerate the body weight, squeeze. She'll demonstrate them back. Perfect. So another alternative to a squat, which is not the best alternative, is a squat leverage machine. Every gym has a variation of this now these days. They're getting rid of squat racks and they're pulling in this crap. So right here you have a lever, which she unlocked the machine, and she gets in there and she can mimic a squat. Like I said, it's not the best, it's not a good replacement for a squat, but it will do if you're uncomfortable with a squat or you have hip issues or whatever. I tend to do it when I hurt myself or have geriatric issues.
All the time.
And now she's gonna lock the bar, as you can see with her hand. Some of them have feet levers where you put your foot and it rocks back and it locks it in for you.
Or top ones.
But that was we call the Magnum squat leverage machine. All right, guys.
Wait.
I have to wait till she gets here. Let's get going here. All right, this is our outro conclusion. So today in the leg workout, we went over basic leg movements found in almost every gym, except those hardcore places like Planet Fitness. They might not have a squat rack. So basic thing to take away from today is this is basic information how to perform those movements. This is not for advanced, not for athletes, not for powerlifters trying to improve their squat. It's basic information for someone trying to get more comfortable in the gym, learn how to use those exercises effectively and safely.
Always look at where your feet are. Always look on decelerating the weight, not throwing weight around, because that's how you're going to get injured in general.
Yeah, people who drop down into the squat too quickly, decelerate the weight. If you want results, it's going to be uncomfortable, so get used to it. But that's our takeaway today. And for all those people who think I'm boring in this, because she thinks I'm boring in these videos.
He has more personality.
Okay, it's still recording. Start, right? Okay. So as you can see, you go down, her heels don't come off the ground. She's loading her hips, her back is straight, her head is up. Usually you want to tilt your head slightly up, like you're looking slightly up. Let's redo that again.
Yeah. I see. This is why I need to know what you're doing. Hey guys, it's Alexia from Total Nutrition. Chris is gonna make me laugh. He keeps going on the camera like that. Today we're gonna be doing. Hey, we can leave it.
We'll still
Make
leave
the
it.
series funny.
Hey, we'll still leave it.